Welcome to the Real Lost Boss podcast. Hello, welcome to episode 34 of the Real Lost Boss podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about the best things I have done to control my eating in 2024. Okay, before I get into the list of what I have done, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history of my weight and how it has changed over the years, so you know kind of why I've had to put some effort in 2024 to kind of get a grip again of weight loss, because I have been on kind of a new weight loss journey, as it were, since the 1st of January 2024. Not a new weight loss journey, I'll rephrase that. I've been on a weight loss journey since February 2014, but what I've been on is a new phase of weight loss. Okay. So I started my weight loss journey in February 2014 and I weighed over 500 pounds. I was 514 pounds, 36 stone and 10 pounds. And I think that works out as 234 kilograms when I started. I went on my first phase of a weight loss journey, and by November 2017, I weighed 20 stone and 5 pounds. And at that point, I decided to take a sabbatical, a break from weight loss. When I did this, I didn't, think to myself, that's the end of my weight loss journey, because I was still 20 stone and 5 pounds, still 285 pounds. Now, just for a bit of context, I'm nearly 6'5" tall. So I'm a big guy and I do carry my weight well, but still, I did think at some point in the future, I would probably lose a bit more weight. But after being on a weight loss journey for 3 years and 9 months, and over that 3 years and 9 months, it wasn't weight loss, right? If you've listened to my previous podcasts or you follow me on any of my social media channels, you'll know I do advocate things like weight loss breaks, and it wasn't a smooth sort of transition from 514 pounds to 285 pounds. But November 2017, I did the old, right, that's it, I'm going to have a little break. And I just wanted to concentrate on maintaining the losses that I got, crack on getting fitter, getting healthier, concentrating a bit more on my nutrition, understanding around that, concentrate on my training, so on and so forth. 7-8 months after making that decision, I qualified as a personal trainer. So when I made the decision to have this little kind of weight loss break, or more of an extended weight loss break, or end, phase one of my weight loss journey, as it were, I've been at college couple of months doing my level 2 fitness instructing, and then that escalated into doing my level 3 personal training. And in June 2018, I wasn't really planning on doing this. I was doing my personal training qualification just as a bit of fun, really, just something that I was quite interested in, and thought, to be honest with you, which it didn't, because personal training qualifications are pretty rubbish, if I'm being honest with you. But I thought it would, develop my knowledge and support, any further attempts to lose weight or further attempts to get fitter, get healthier, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying it didn't do that, but they're just not the best thing in the world. Anyway, I did qualify as a personal trainer. And I decided to do a bit of personal training part-time. I worked full-time as basically a company accountant, as it were, but I was sort of general manager at a domiciliary care agency. So I run the business side of a dom care agency, and I was quite lucky in my job role. I did have some flexibility, so I decided to do a few hours personal training alongside that. A, just to see if I liked it. B, to earn a little bit more money. Anyway, my personal training business boomed. I was very, very lucky. It went from nothing to being very, very busy in a very short space of time. And I think that's just because people kind of resonated with me. They knew the journey I'd been on. They knew the amount of weight I'd lost. And although personal training is nothing to do with weight loss or fat loss, personal training is to do with teaching people how to train in a gym, or to give people individual, exercise plans, exercise routines, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people go to a personal trainer for fat loss stroke weight loss. So a lot of people gravitated to me. And at the end of 2018, I needed to make a decision. Am I going to carry on doing the full-time job that I had, or am I going to launch my own full-time sort of personal training business? And I decided to launch my own full-time personal training business. Anyway, from that, I became a personal trainer in the gym that I'd been going to since I pretty much started my weight loss journey. And alongside that, I also taught quite a lot of fitness classes. I used to teach spin. I used to teach I was never a Les Mills qualified instructor, but I used to teach my version of body pump. I used to do kettlebell classes, circuit classes within the gym, and 30 to 40 hours of personal training a week on top of that. What that meant for my weight loss journey was I started burning a shed ton of calories. Lots and lots of calories on a day-to-day basis because I never stopped moving. And the knock-on effect of that was I was in a calorie deficit and my weight loss just naturally kicked in and I started to lose more weight. I wasn't trying. I genuinely wasn't trying. And from becoming a full-time personal trainer at the beginning of 2019, I did let my eating slip in terms of calorie control, but I could. I was eating 3,000 calories a day Monday to Friday, so 15,000 calories over that time. Weekends, basically doing what I wanted. I was just sort of bunging a few calories in the app in the morning. What am I going to do today? Oh, well, I'll probably eat this, this, and this. Guesstimating quite a lot, sticking it in my app, and then sorted. There we go. So being very inaccurate, if I'm being totally honest with you. My app at the end of the week used to show me consuming 25,000 calories. I was probably consuming 28,000 calories, but I was burning well over 30,000 calories a week doing the job I was doing. And over the space of 12, 18 months, I dropped another 3 stone, 5 pounds. The lowest I ever weighed was around about, I think, July, August 2019, and I was 17 stone, 3 pounds. So I dropped another, 3 stone, 45 pounds basically. And that's the leanest I've ever been. And I maintained that because a certain pandemic hit the country hit the world, should I say, in March 2020. But we went into lockdown then in the UK and it shut down my business. So I stopped being a personal trainer. But what I started doing was training in my back garden for hours a day. I really was. It made me panic. It made me panic about, it was the first time I'd never consistently gone to a gym while on my weight loss journey for an extended period of time. So I was very, very lucky. I managed to, just before we kind of went into lockdown, or maybe while we were in the first few days of lockdown, I managed to get into my local gym where I was personal training and managed to get hold of a few weights, managed to get a spin bike as well, got those home. And I was, my wife was furloughed at the time. Not furloughed, sorry. She was working remotely from home at the time. So I basically spent certainly the first 3-4 months of COVID, riding spin bikes for a couple of hours a day, doing circuit classes in my garden for a couple of hours a day, and then I'll be honest with you, drinking beer in the afternoon. But that's still, I was still in a calorie deficit, or certainly in a calorie maintenance, and my weight didn't really change. Anyway, from COVID hitting, I transitioned out of being a one-to-one personal trainer. I still did it through 2020 into 2021. But I started doing social media in 2021, got a bit of a following, and that's when I launched my online weight loss plans. My online weight loss plans were actually designed for my one-to-one PT clients to follow while COVID was happening. It was just to give them a bit of extra support. And then I thought, you know what, once we come out of COVID and I go back to the gym training people again, they've got a plan to follow, because in a gym, I wanted to teach them how to deadlift, bench press. I wanted to teach them how to put gym routines together, how to get fitter and healthier. And of course, you talk to people about nutrition and about diet, but giving them a full plan to follow outside of the gym, I thought, I can charge a bit more for my services, and B, that will coax them to weight loss. Anyway, obviously, we were in and out of lockdowns for probably 18 months, something like that. So I started to sell my plans online through TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. And it just took off, and I did really, really well. And from May 2021 up until probably towards the end of 2022, I toned down my one-to-one personal training. So I used to do in the gym probably about 40 sessions a week. When I started personal training from home, I cut that down to about 30 sessions a week. I didn't have the outgoings of having to pay the gym for my PT space and stuff like that. So I toned it down to about 30 sessions a week. And then as I started online training, doing my online coaching. I've never done online personal training, doing the online coaching side of things. You know, my personal training sessions went down to 20 a week, and then down to 15 a week, and then down to 10 a week. Where it got to the point towards the end of 2022, I was literally doing 4 or 5 sessions a week, something like that. And I decided at the end of 2022 to just focus full time on the online side of things, and I gave up one-to-one personal training. The knock-on effect, though, of me slowing down my personal training and increasing the online presence that I was doing, I stopped moving as much. What didn't change was my eating. So from probably the beginning of 2021, if I'm being honest, up to towards the end of 2022, I gained all my weight back that I'd lost as a personal trainer. So I never really went above that 20 stone, 5 pound marker consistently that I stopped at in 2017. But I certainly, the weight I lost from personal training. So yeah, I gained about 3 stone back over the space of 12 to 18 months. The reality hit when I came home from a holiday to Benidorm in 2022. It was October and I got on the scales, and this included a good bit of excess water retention from being on holiday, but I nearly tipped the scales at 21 stone. Right, so yeah, I know I was a bit heavier there than the 20 stone 5 pounds, but in a week of getting back from holiday, flushing out my excess water retention, I was back down to like 20 stone 5 pounds ish. But that kind of, it gave me a reality check. And, you know, I was still, from 2021 to 2022, I was still eating the same way that I was doing as a personal trainer, 2018-ish, certainly all of 2019, which was eating 3,000 calories a day, Monday to Friday, and being pretty damn inaccurate and not very accountable at the weekends. So probably consuming 27, like I say, 26, 27,000 calories a week, except my calorie burn had gone from being over 30,000 calories a week to probably down to where it sits now, really, because I've still got a good level of movement. I still exercise 5 times a week. I still do 10, 11,000 steps a day on average. So it's probably dropped down to, yeah, what it is now, about 23,000. So I was obviously gone from being in, looking at maintaining my weight to then being in a calorie deficit, natural calorie deficit from this massive increase in movement, going from a sedentary day job to being a personal trainer. And then I transitioned back into a sedentary day job. And yeah, I didn't change my calories. And I don't think I wanted to face the reality of it, because it is flipping hard. It's always harder to eat less. It's never harder to move more. But again, reality check, I was never, unless I went back into being a full-time personal trainer, I was never going to go back into burning the same amount of calories as I was as a personal trainer doing a sedentary day job. I can still burn a good amount of calories, but I could never go back into, burning the same amount of calories as I was. So yeah, a bit of a reality check for me. So in 2022, I reduced my calories. I reduced my calories down to 2,750 a day, and sort of said to myself, I've got to cut out this kind of guesstimating or, inaccurate tracking, being less accountable at the weekend. Remember, there's 5 days in a week, not 7, and just get back on it. And that was my mission for 2023. And I was rubbish. I lowered my hands up. I convinced myself I was doing miles better than I was. But at the end of the day, when I changed my calories in October 2022 down to 2,750 and learned to recontrol my eating to a lower amount of calories again, I did well. I did pretty well, and I got down to under 20 stone and things were going good. Then obviously at Christmas you gain your weight back, and the reality check is, again, I've had a few of those recently, if I'm being honest with you. I weighed the same. At the end of 2023, I got on the scales for the last time before Christmas 2023 was coming in, and I weighed the same then as I did at the beginning of January 2023. Throughout 2023, I'd lost weight, but I've gained it back. I'd lost weight, I gained it back. And yeah, why was I a bit rubbish in 2023? A few different reasons. I was drinking a bit more than I would do normally. I'll hold my hands up. I was. Some bad habits were creeping back in with the amount of alcohol I was consuming. And I always find it very hard to control my calories when I drink. Why was I drinking a bit more? I'll be honest with you. I felt a little bit, this might sound weird, but I lost accountability with myself, because when I was a one-to-one personal trainer and with people every day, I'm setting a good example. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm trying to set a good example to my online clients, but because people aren't seeing me, I know I do a lot of lives and stuff, but because people weren't seeing me on a day-to-day basis, yeah, I just took my eyes off the ball a little bit. Alongside that, having the freedom, not personal training, gave me a lot more freedom with my eating and drinking, in the senses of, I used to personal train Saturday. I'd never touch a drop of alcohol when I was personal training. Even if I just had one session on a Saturday morning or two sessions, I would, and I actually had a bit of freedom. I could enjoy going to the pub on a Friday night. I could enjoy going to the pub on a Saturday. When I was a personal trainer, I only had one day off a week. I just used to have Sundays off. And I never wanted to spend that one day off a week hungover. So again, I didn't really drink very much as a personal trainer. You know, once in a blue moon, I'd go out and have a few beers. But I was probably making up for that a little bit in 2023. Also had quite a few holidays in 2023, and we had a massive one to America. Two of our best friends got married in Vegas, and we actually ended up going to America for 15 nights. And I did quite well January, February, going into March in 2023. But then we had that big 2-week holiday, and I gained, do you know what? I didn't even get on the scales afterwards. And I always do that. I like to know what I've gained from holiday, and it gives me a kick up the bum. And I just decided not to. And I think, again, I probably realised that my eating had been a bit out of control, and I didn't want to face what I was doing. A lot of people do that. I still do that myself. I know a lot of you watching this, I might be your one-to-one weight loss coach. Some of you are watching and listening to this, whichever format or platform you're viewing this podcast on, or listening to this podcast, let's say. You know, you might be in my community, or likewise, you're just looking to me for inspiration. I'm not perfect. I'll never claim to be, but I try and be as best as I can be. So yeah, I was a bit rubbish in 2023. So why I've given you that bit of backstory was, and yeah, coming into 2024 after Christmas, I was back up to 288 pounds. So £3 heavier than that 20 stone, £5 in 2017. I made a little pact with myself though, with myself in 2024, and said, no, this can't happen. And you've got to learn from what you do. And you do, you know, you can't change the past, but you can change the future. So I just decided, right, 2024 is going to be your year, Neil. I set myself a target of getting down to 18 stone. I don't think I'll ever push myself down to 17 stone again, which I got to as a personal trainer. And if COVID hadn't hit and I carried on as a one-to-one PT, I could have been lighter than this. I could have got down to 16 stone. I have no idea where I was going with it. But anyway, I've set myself a target of getting down to 18 stone. And that's why I've started, you know, I don't know if you watch, but every week I do a weekly weight loss vlog on YouTube for accountability and talking through it. So that is actually going to be one of my points, first points. But anyway, let me just finish off this little sort of briefing, as it were. So yeah, I set myself this sort of thing. Right, in 2024, Neil, you're going to get back into a proper weight loss phase. So I've kind of had two weight loss phases throughout my weight loss journey since January 2014, since February 2014, which was February 2014 to November 2017. And then I would say from when I started PTing, probably part-time, is when my calories would have started to increase and I slipped back into that natural deficit. So I'll say from May, June 2018 up to kind of the end of 2021, or maybe mid-COVID, mid-2020. So a couple of years, I was still in a calorie deficit, not trying to be really. I just naturally was because of my increase in movement, and lost more weight. And then probably from mid-21, when I launched my online side of things and started to chill out the one-to-one, I probably then went into a weight gain phase. So from mid-21 up until, like, say, October 22, so probably only 15 months, I gained 3 and a bit stone back. That's a pretty decent calorie surplus, you know. That's you know, nearly £1 a week. So that means I was consuming probably about 3,000 calories on average a week more than I should have been doing. Then in 2023, I pretty much maintained. I was trying to go into a weight loss phase, the same sort of, I did say to myself coming into January 2023, right, let's get down. But I was just rubbish in 2023. So but it was a maintenance year. I didn't gain, I lost a bit at certain points, gained a bit back, lost a bit, gained a bit. But on average, over the year of 2023, I maintained because I was the same weight coming into Christmas 2023 as I was in January 2023. And anyway, 2024, let's get back into it. Let's start official weight loss phase 3. And the mission is over 2024 to get down to 18 stone. So I started the year at 288 pounds. And I want to get down to like 263, is it? Or 253? 253. That's kind of been my mission. So I've kind of had to have a reset. I've had to look back. And all these things I'm going to talk about now are things that I did when I first started sort of maybe counting calories. So in weight loss phase 1, right, I was doing quite a lot of this and it kept me accountable. Some things I haven't done before. These are things that are fairly new to me, things that I've trialed a little bit for 2024, and they've worked. They have worked because, again, if you've watched my weekly weight loss vlogs or you follow me on social media, I've had a very busy 2024. Or should I say, I've had a busy second 3 months of 2024. First 3 months of 2024, I lost 22 pounds. Very, very happy with that. Got down to 266, coasting a little bit, doing very good. And then I've just had a manic 3 months, which is actually finishing. I'm recording this podcast at the end of June 2024. So it's finishing this Saturday. I'm off to Benidorm for 5 days with some friends to watch match day 3 of the Euros. So the third round fixtures of the group stage of the Euros. And that's it. But since, the beginning of April, so this is just a 10-week period, I've had a stag do in Poland. I've been to New York with Rachel, my wife. I've then been on a bit of a family holiday because Rachel's cousin and her fella were renewing their wedding vows in Mexico. So we've done a week's all-inclusive. I've had 2 all-day weddings for my sins. I'm a Man United fan, so I've been out celebrating the FA Cup win on that. Went to the pub to watch the FA Cup, and that turned into a bit of a celebration, obviously. So yeah, it's been a really busy 3 months. But I weighed in a week ago, which would have been, what was the date? 7th of June. Sorry for the long pause. Bear walks into a bar. What do you want to drink? I'll have a beer. Barman says, why the long pause? Forget it. It's an old one. Anyway, just going off on a tangent there. It's been a busy couple of months. But yeah, 7th of June, I weighed myself and I was 19 pounds down. Or a bit more than that, actually. A bit more. I think I was just two and a bit pounds up from the beginning of April. So although I've had all this on, basically 3 breaks away, 2 all-day weddings. 1 all-day wedding was Friday, Saturday, and so it was like a really busy one because Rachel was maid of honour for the wedding. I've had a lot on. I still stayed reasonably in control of my losses from Christmas. It's just been a busy period. And then once I get back from Benidorm, I'm going back into weight loss for 2 or 3 months and just crack on with the journey. Last year, having a busy period like this, and I didn't have the commitment, if I'm being honest with myself, I would have gained all my weight back and just then tried to lose a bit and then gain a bit and then tried to lose a bit and gain a bit. But I've been on it in 2024. And yeah, you might be sat there now going, well, to lose 19 pounds in the first 6 months, I'm not trying to lose weight fast. I never have done. With what I've had on, I'm more than happy with my progress. And I set myself a mission from the beginning of April to be the same weight from the 11th of April, which was when the madness sort of happened, to weigh myself on the 5th of July and be the same weight. And I'm kind of on course. I've got another weigh in on Friday this week, which will be the 21st of June. And then I've got one 2 weeks after on the 5th of July. And obviously I've got a trip to Benidorm in between that, but we'll see where we're at. Watch my weekly weight loss vlogs on YouTube. and you can see exactly where I'm at. Okay, so that's just a brief, I say a brief, I've probably been waffling on for about half an hour, but that's a brief background to why I'm doing this podcast now. So what have I put into place? There's no particular order really to these things. They're just things that I've really put into place in 2024 that have massively helped me control my eating, control my calorie intake. I would say the very last one I'm going to cover has probably been the most important, but really there's no major order. Okay, number one, plan my daily eating and stick it in my diary. All right, so in my app, in NutriCheck. It's something I did at the start of my weight loss journey. So not the start of my weight loss journey, when I first started tracking calories. I used to plan my daily eating, especially when I knew I had a really busy day. I'd plan my eating maybe the day before or in the morning. Now it's a bit easier. I work from home, so the kitchen's there, so I know what I've got in and what I'm going to have. But I plan my eating and I stick it in my app, right, for the day. And it keeps me in control. I know exactly what I'm eating. It's in my app. If I forget, I can reference back to my app. Right, you're hungry. It's lunchtime. What are you having again? Go back into that. Oh, yeah, you're having chicken, rice, broccoli, and a bit of Chinese curry sauce, which is, again, if you're watching my weekly Wellness Vlogs, is one of my favourite lunches. What's your mid-afternoon snack today? Oh, mid-afternoon snack is a protein shake. It's not set in stone. I'll be honest with you, it's not set in stone. If I put a protein shake in mid-afternoon and I don't end up having it, or I end up having a yogurt instead, I just switch it about then. But pretty much what goes in my app in the morning will be what I eat. And I've done that to the point where I try and make sure I bank at least 10 to 15% of my daily calories. Some days I run a little bit up on that. Some days I bank a little bit more than that, but that's kind of been my target. So, yeah. Now, I'm not saying I've been perfect with this. It's just something I've done more often than not. I've not done this every single day routinely, right? But it's something more often I've done than not. Remember, consistency is key. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about doing what we should be doing or what helps us more often than not. So more often than not, I sit there in the morning, I know exactly what I'm eating, and it goes in my app. And I just reference back to that when I'm hungry, when I'm going to eat, what am I having? It helps me control my portion size. For example, the day I'm recording this podcast now, for tea tonight, we're having like an English breakfast sort of thing. And it's in my app. And I know the calories, but I can reference what have you put in there? Because I know I've planned it so it fits in with my calories. And I look back at it and go, right, you've put in 2 eggs, 4 bacon medallions, 2 low-fat sausage, 1 slice of sourdough toast, half a tin of Heinz lower sugar beans, 200 grams of mushrooms. I know what's in there. So when I'm cooking my tea and I'm plating it up, I know what should be on my plate. Okay. So yeah, plan my daily eating and enter it into my diary. Number 2, working on increasing the volume of my main meals. Okay, protein, fiber, the 2 most saturating things we can eat. So fiber's classed as a micronutrient, protein's classed as a macronutrient, but they are both very filling. So if you eat a meal and it's high in protein and it's high in fiber, it's going to keep your hunger hormones at bay because it's going to sit in your system a bit longer because it's harder for your body to break down. In the past, and this is something new, if I'm being honest with you, in the past, I've always gone, right, I need to have, or my calorie allowance for my tea is 700 calories, right? And I've made a tea that's 700 calories, and really I've just focused, has it got a good amount of protein in it? Yes, right. I've never really looked too much at fiber content, which is something I've improved massively. I have, but it's something I've been focused on a bit more in 2024. But the big one is volume. Right? So not only do I want my main meal to be good amount of protein, good amount of fiber, is it a decent portion as well? Because, I always say this, you can eat whatever you want to lose weight. You can do, but if you're going to eat something unhealthy, if I'm going to eat something that's unhealthy, that's 700 calories, I'm going to get a small portion. Me and Rachel used to have quite a lot of what we call midweek McDonald's. And a midweek McDonald's was just if we had a really busy day or we'd been sat in the house all day because we work from home and we just want a little breakout, we'd go and have what we call the midweek McDonald's. And midweek McDonald's was basically a more calorie controlled McDonald's. And I used to get a wrap of the day and 3 chicken selects. All right amount of protein, 780 calories it was. That was it. But the portion was small. And I sort of noticed that days where I was having that for my tea, I may overeat a bit later on at night time, or psychologically, because I knew I was having a smaller portion at night time, I'd eat a bit more through the day and my calories would run away a little bit. So we've kind of cut that out a little bit. And if I'm going to eat something at night time, certainly at night time, but most of my meals, volume. And how do you boost volume? Lower calorie, higher volume foods. So lower calorie foods. Fruits and veggies is the best thing to do. So bulk your fruits, bulk your meals out with fruit and veggies. So for example, in the morning I have protein pancakes, but I always have raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, maybe some banana on there as well, because for the sake of 150 calories, I'm adding 250 grams of food to that dish, right, alongside the 100 grams of yogurt and the 2 protein pancakes. So worked on increasing the volume of my main meals. So they still fit in with my calories, they still high in protein. I've worked on increasing the fiber a little bit, but also making sure that the portion size is a good size. Yeah. I've cut out the start again Mondays. Okay. So what I mean, and that for me isn't, I wouldn't be struggling during the week for my weight loss journey. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday might not have gone to plan, so I'll just bin the rest of the week. That doesn't really happen for me. But where the start again Mondays can happen for me is when I go away. And obviously I've just said that I've been away quite a lot over the last month or so. I've had like 3 trips away, and all trips have got back kind of midweek-ish. And again, going to Benidorm, I get back on a Thursday, it's midweekish. And normally when I go on a trip away, or I have something on for the first few days where I'm not really too concerned about tracking calories, that will write the week off. I've not done that. When I went on the stag do, I actually came back on a Monday, so it wasn't really midweek, but I started tracking. I never track calories when I'm away. I just enjoy my time away, and I get back to it when I get back. But if I'm being honest with you, I get back to it on the following Monday when I get back. This year, I've not done that. On the stag do, I was tracking calories. We were travelling home. We travelled home quite early, so I was tracking my calories still on the Monday to be more accountable. When we came back from New York, we travelled late on a Wednesday. So I was tracking calories. I didn't track calories on the Wednesday travelling back, but Thursday morning, rather than going, I'll start again Monday, I got back to tracking my calories Thursday. Same with coming back from Mexico, and it'll be the same. I get back on a Thursday from Benidorm, and it'll be the same then, tracking that. And that's just kept me a little bit more in control, and it makes a difference. It really has made a difference. And going forward now, if I have anything on, I will, I tell my clients to do this, and it is something I've done in the past, but my restart point has always generally been a Monday, is if you're going away, you've got something going on, especially if it breaks a week up, you create a cut-off, you create a restart, and you get back to it. And yeah, my restart dates have been when I'm back, day after I'm back in the country, or day after, something's been going on. Last year, I remember we went to a concert. I think we went, was it last year? Was it the year before? Last year we went to watch Pink, and it was on a Wednesday, and I had a bit of a blowout on, I had a good few drinks at Pink on the Wednesday, and I didn't track calories because I'm having a bit of a day out and a bit of a day off. And that culminated in me starting tracking calories again on Monday. So we went to Pink on a Wednesday, and I binned Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off because, I had a reasonable, a bit of a hangover there on the Thursday, but there was no reason for me not to start tracking calories, be accountable to it. Okay. I've cut down my alcohol intake. So like I've said previously on this podcast, I have consumed, I did consume in 2023 quite a bit more alcohol than I would do normally. Probably consume more alcohol in 2023. It'd been the highest level of alcohol consumption since starting my weight loss journey. And I used to have an issue with alcohol. I don't mind admitting that. Pre-weight loss journey, I was certainly a food addict and probably bordering a bit of an alcoholic as well. I probably was an alcoholic, functioning alcoholic. Don't get me wrong, I didn't need a bottle of vodka to get out of bed in the morning, but I drank way more alcohol, and I did medicate with alcohol. I didn't really drink at home, but I used to spend a lot of time in the pub. So, oh, no, I never drink at home. Yeah, but you go to the pub 4 or 5 nights a week now. Oh, yeah, I suppose, okay. But, in 2023, so I did dry Jan and Feb, which definitely massively helped with that initial 22 pounds weight loss of 2024. But even when I started drinking again in March, I had one day out with my mates where I had a good few beers, and that was it. The first weekend of March, the Friday night, went out and had 3 or 4 pints, and then I had one other day. That was it. And then the stag do on the 12th of April was the next time I drank. So, and yeah, the stag do was quite boozy. I had a few beers in New York. Obviously, a week all inclusive in Mexico was a bit boozy. And Benidorm's going to be a bit boozy. And we've had weddings. So I'm not saying I've not been drinking. I have been drinking. And again, if you follow my weekly weight loss vlogs, you'll see that. But I have massively toned it down. What I was doing a lot of last year in 2023 was if we had nothing on at the weekend, like this weekend that's just gone, didn't have anything on really. I did actually go to this. I'm not selling myself here. I did go to the pub on Sunday night to watch the England game. But last year, every Friday pretty much, we were taking the dogs out for a walk 4 or 5 o'clock and going in the pub and having a few beers. I was doing that nearly every Friday. And having 3 or 4 beers in the pub, and then getting home and making tea, and then having another couple of beers, and that just triggers a massive lack of self-control. And then because I do that Friday, I'd end up going out Saturday as well and having a few beers, and sometimes went out on the odd Sunday. So whereas this year, yeah, I have cut down. Right, and I'm at a level where I'm quite happy. You know, if I've got some on, like England and the Euros, yeah, I'll go and have a few beers. If I'm away, I'll go and have a few beers. But you know, I could have quite easily had beers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, and I didn't. I just went out on Friday and had a couple of pints in the pub. Next one. Be just as accountable at the weekend as I am during the week. Again, I wasn't doing that last year. I was drinking a lot more than I should have been, or than I feel comfortable doing. And looking back, you know, I was convincing myself. So many people do this. I was convincing myself I was doing better than I was. That is such a common trend for a lot of people. You know, I get so many people coming on my social media lives and I'm eating 1,200 calories a day and I've not lost any weight for 6 weeks. You're not eating 1,200 calories a day. You might think you are. And this is what I was doing, because if I go back now and look at my NutriCheck for last year, it will show more often than not, more weeks than not, that I'm in a calorie deficit. So that data should mean over a year, I will be, you know, I'll have less body fat. And I didn't. So I'm lying to myself. Right? And it's very easy to do that. And, you know, I've just said there, most Fridays we take the dog out for a walk. Both our pubs are dog friendly. We'd nip in the pub. We'd have a couple of beers in one pub, then a couple in the other pub. Rachel doesn't really drink, so she'd just have maybe couple of halves of shandy, and I'm slamming 2 pints down my neck while she's having one half of shandy. And if I look back now, will all those pints be in my app? Probably not. Will a couple of bags of crisps that I then smashed in the evening time because I'm playing my Xbox and I've had another couple of beers be in my? Probably not. Inaccuracy, not consistent, not good. And that's certainly at the weekend. And that's a lot of people's problems. They might eat 1,200 calories Monday to Friday, 1,200 calories a day Monday to Friday. You're not eating them at the weekend though, are you? But this year I've been really accountable. And again, I know I keep mentioning it, my weekly weight loss vlog on YouTube, I've been open and honest on there, and I've pinned my calories for the week. I've shown when I've been, like I say, last year if I looked at my calories, there was hardly any time I wasn't in my ideal deficit. Whereas this year, you know, even if it's just 200-300 over my, I'm honest, I'm open about it. And I've just had to say, you know, you need to be like this, Neil. So yeah, there's 7 days in a week, not 5. And I've been tracking at the weekend, been very accountable at the weekend, limited my guesstimating at the weekend. If I've got an all-day wedding or a bit of a day out with my mates, yeah, I'm not going to sit there in the pub and track every pint I have. Likewise, at an all-day wedding, I'm not going to try and put in, you know, my soup, my roast beef and my cheesecake, and then, you know, the little smoked salmon fiddly things that come round before you have your wedding breakfast, and then at night time there's a hog roast on or something like that. I'm not going to do that. I do guesstimate those days, and it's what, you know, I recommend people do, just to be a bit accountable there. But those guesstimation days should be few and far between. They shouldn't be every weekend. They were last year, I feel. Definitely not this year. So yeah, just a lot more consistent and accountable, and just remembering that there's 5 days in a week, not 7. I did say about my weekly weight loss vlogs. I've started doing those on YouTube, and because every Monday I'm logging, doing an analysis of my previous week. it's keeping me accountable. And it's something I did from the beginning of my weight loss journey. I was very open, very vocal about my weight loss journey to everybody. Whereas last year, I was kind of keeping it under wraps a little bit. And I was like, no, some people might not like the pressure of that. Whenever I tried to lose weight in the past, I'm talking pre-2014, I always kept it under wraps because I didn't want anything. I told you so. I knew you weren't going to lose weight. And I know that's what people were thinking. In 2014, when I started my weight loss journey, I wanted to do it totally different than any way I'd done it before. So I was singing it from the rooftops. I'm losing weight. I'm on a diet. I'm on a weight loss journey. Right? Very, very loud about it. Some people will crumble under the pressure of that. I didn't. I didn't want to be proven wrong, and it helped me. And that's kind of what I've done with doing these weekly weight loss vlogs on YouTube. I'm singing out to the masses and I'm documenting it. And I put on my progress sheet every other week when I do my own check-in so people can see the data. And that's really, really helped. It really, really has. Because even during the week, I'm taking pictures of my, like over the last couple of weeks on my weekly weight loss vlog, I've started adding in pictures of what I'm eating rather than just talking about my diary. So people can see the food that I'm having. Right. And again, now when I'm having my lunch, when I'm having my tea, I'm making sure I take pictures of it and making sure it fits in with my calories. So yeah, I'm being much more vocal about the journey. And I don't think I've been vocal about it last year that much because I think I was probably a little bit embarrassed by it. I'm an online weight loss coach. You look to me for inspiration for weight loss, but I have to hold my hands up and say, I'm still a food addict inside. I'm still on my own journey. I'm still trying to fight things myself. Yes, I've been at this 10 years and it gets easier with time, but I'm going to be on a weight loss journey for the rest of my life. I've got to stay in control. Otherwise, I'll end up going back to being 37 stone nil, and that's never going to happen. But one thing I hope you all know is from the start of my weight loss journey, for however long you've been following me, I always want to be honest. And last year I wasn't lying about things. Again, I just convinced myself, like a lot of us do, I was doing a lot better than I actually was. Last one. The last one. And this is the big one. And I've started saying it quite a bit on social media. And I started doing this when I first started tracking calories in 2016. I didn't have a clue what a calorie counting app was until February 2016. I was laid on a sun lounger in Mexico. We were on holiday, me and Rach, and I was just talking to Rachel about having skin removal. We've been and inquired about it before we went on holiday, and I booked in for July. And I said, when we get back from this holiday, I need to get my head down and get lean for my skin removal operation, because the leaner you are, the more skin they can take off and the tighter they can get your skin. So I need to get back into it because I lost 10 stone in my first year on my weight loss journey. The next 9, 10, 11 months, I lost about another 7 or 8, no, maybe 10 pounds, maybe up to a stone. I can't quite know, but I certainly felt like I was more maintaining than actually cracking on. So I haven't had a perfect weight loss journey. So when I said there, I started February 2014 or earlier on in this podcast, and I, stopped weight loss phase 1 in November 2017. It wasn't a smooth ride. There was ups and downs throughout those 3 years, 9 months, but that's kind of how long the phase felt. But yeah, so Rachel was like, Rachel worked in social media at the time. She's like, oh, one of the lads at work's using MyFitnessPal. And I was like, what's MyFitnessPal? So I ended up downloading it while I was on holiday looking at it. I was like, I'm going to start using that. And that's what I started doing. And a little rule of thumb that I had for the first, certainly when I started tracking calories, was if it isn't in my app, it ain't going in my trap. And you know what? I've brought that philosophy back. I used that 2016, 2017. I used it for about 18 months, couple of years, and it keeps you so accountable. You go to, biscuit on the side, little snacky snoo here and there, little something in the fridge, and you go to reach for it, it's not in your app, Neil. Especially when I've tracked my calories for the day in the morning. It ain't in your app. It's not going in your trap. Now, like I say, I'm not 100% perfect with that. Every now and then, that philosophy might not go out the window, but sometimes I'll have my breakfast. Oh, I've not tracked my breakfast. Or likewise, if I'm really hungry, I might eat something and then add it in. But more often than not, I stick to that philosophy. So if it ain't in your app, it ain't going in your trap. And if you follow that, it really does, and you stay true to it, wow, it's one of the best things to help you control your calories. Okay, so a little summary. What have I done in 2014? Things I've brought back. Well, the things I've brought back is plan my daily eating and enter it in my diary. I did start doing that when I first started tracking my calories. I started doing that really before I started tracking calories, planning. Being planning. And cut down on alcohol. Yep, I've always been fairly good with my alcohol intake. It was only sort of 2023 when I was trying to get into this weight loss phase where I felt my alcohol. Maybe that was happening as well in 2022, but I certainly noticed it in 2023. So really watching alcohol intake, that was a big thing at the start of my weight loss journey. And that's something I've really worked on in 2024. The 7 days in a week, not 5. Yeah, that's from the start of my weight loss journey, something I've really brought back in to be very accountable at the weekend. And if it ain't in my app, it doesn't go in my trap. Yeah, brought that back from earlier on in my weight loss journey. And the two things I've sort of introduced that's relatively new that's helped is volume of food, being a bit more also looking at fibre. I've always looked at fibre for health and stuff like that, but being a bit more accountable to adding fibre into my diet alongside protein, but certainly that volume of food. And again, cutting out the start again Mondays. Start when you get back, especially if you've had a trip, and that's been, kind of, I suppose I was quite lucky this year that New Year's Day was a Monday. But I'll be honest with you, last year, if New Year's Day had been a Monday, I might have waited a whole week. And it's a little bit of I don't know, right? I'm very much in a routine. I'm very set in my ways. Rachel thinks somewhere I'm definitely on the spectrum somewhere with things like that. So it's like my OCD. I always call it OCD. I don't know if that's it, right? I need to start on a Monday because it's a brand new week. It's a fresh week. It just works in my head, and I hate, starting. But I'm more than happy to do my diary Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then if I go like this week, I'm doing my diary Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I won't track Saturday, Sunday. I'm happy to leave my diary open like that, like unfinished. So what's the difference in doing it in reverse? So that's kind of it. So there's two new things, the volume, certainly looking a bit more at fibre alongside protein, but volume of meals and cutting out the start again Mondays. Those are the things I've started implementing back into my journey, into this kind of third weight loss phase, as I'll call it. It helped me lose 22 pounds up to the beginning of April. And then in this crazy phase of going away a lot, weddings, other sort of do's and stuff like that, it's pretty much helped me maintain my losses. Like I say, I think I'm about from my last weigh-in, I think I was 2.6 pounds up from beginning of April, which I'm more than happy with, because if I hadn't implemented all these things, I would have been on the roller coaster of weight loss, which I covered in the last podcast. I'd have lost 22 pounds, probably gained it all back. And when getting back from Benidorm, I would be starting again and trying to get back into it. And I'm not doing. Now, I've not weighed myself yet. I'm weighing myself on Friday, which will be the 21st of June, which actually this podcast is going to go out after that date. And I'll talk about that in the weekly weight loss vlog that I do after my check-in. There will be a gap of those because I'm going away. But beginning of July, they'll be back in place. And I have no idea, because since I last weighed in, I was out on the Friday night with the groom. I've had an all-day wedding. I had quite a big hangover day. And then last Sunday, I went out and had a couple of beers for the Euros. But I've been as accountable as I can be. So we'll see. And in my mind, looking at the data that's in my app, and I know how accurate I'm being or as accountable as I'm being, looking at my movement, there's absolutely no reason why I should have gained. And if not, I should definitely still have lost some body fat over the last couple of weeks. Anyway, we'll see what happens next time I get on the scales. Anyway, that is the end of podcast number 34. And that is actually the end of series 1 of the podcast. So I started the podcast in July 2023. And we are, this will be the last one that's posted before July. So season 2, there's going to be nothing different. I'm just going to crack on talking about weight loss as I talk about weight loss, when different subjects pop into my head. I'll cover them on the podcast, but I just thought every year I'll start a new season. So season 2 will start July 2024. And I love doing the podcast. So thank you if you've listened to season 1, the first 34 episodes. So yeah, season 2. I'm like, do I call it season 2, episode 35, or do I call it season 2, episode 1? I think it's gonna be season 2, episode 1, because then I can log how many I do over a year. So I've done 34 episodes in the last 12 months. Anyway, there we go. Right. So if you're struggling to control your eating, right, or you're struggling to stay in control of those calories, I highly recommend implementing some of those things. You know, yes, certain things just help for specific people. You know, some things can be subjective, but I highly believe if you implement a lot of those things into your everyday routine, especially that if it ain't in your app, it doesn't go in your trap. It will really help you control those calories. And of course, calories are king when it comes to fat loss, stroke, long-term weight loss. That's it. Thank you very much. And until episode 2, which will be out, until season 2, episode 1, which will be out sometime in July, make sure you are bossing your weight loss.